Listen, I've been a security analyst for the Vekron Dominion for 32 cycles. I thought I'd seen everything. Pirates? Handled. Rebel uprisings? Crushed 17. Territorial disputes with the Grath Confederation? Routine. Tuesday material. But humans? No one, and I mean no one, warned me about the humans. It started 3 months ago when Supreme Commander Torvik, a male far too impressed with his own strategic brilliance, decided we would expand into Sector 47. Standard procedure. Send scouts. Assess resources. Claim territory. Ignore any primitive species. We had done it 400 times before. This time, the primitive species was Earth. Commander Torvik stood in the war room, scales gleaming beneath the overhead lights, tail swishing with confidence. They are barely past atomic energy, he declared. Their vessels cannot achieve faster-than-light travel. This will be simple. I should have known better. We dispatched the standard Intimidation Fleet. 50 warships, enough firepower to fracture a moon. The usual broadcast followed. Surrender your system. Join the Dominion. Or face extinction. Humans would panic. Submit within hours. That was the expectation. Instead, they sent diplomats. Not soldiers. Not weapons. Not even a strongly worded response. Diplomats. 4 of them arrived in a vessel so small it barely registered on our sensors. The ship looked as though it were held together by welded plates and sheer defiance. When it docked with our command carrier, I monitored the security feeds, expecting fear. Begging. Something. The airlock opened. Out stepped a human woman identified as Victoria Kane, approximately 1.6 meters tall, wearing a simple gray suit that likely cost less than my morning ration. Her posture was relaxed, her expression calm, her eyes calculating. "Greetings," she said brightly. "Thank you for meeting with us. We received your message about subjugation and extinction. Very dramatic, by the way. We appreciate good theater." Commander Torvik blinked. "You are not afraid?" Victoria smiled. It made my scales itch. "Afraid? Commander, we've been expecting someone like you for decades. We even have a department dedicated to first contact invasion scenarios. Would you like coffee? We brought our own. Your water might not agree with our biology." She produced a metal container, poured a cup of dark liquid, and took a sip. On our flagship, surrounded by armed soldiers, like she was sitting in a cafe. The other 3 diplomats spread out calmly, setting down data tablets, printed documents, and, disturbingly, snacks. One of them, Marcus Webb, offered a wrapped item to a guard. "Granola bar," he said with a grin. "Oats, honey, dried fruit. Earth-made." The guard accepted it, confused. Victoria continued as if we were discussing trade tariffs. "Now, Commander Torvik, let me explain why conquest will not be viable. Earth has 8 billion inhabitants. That's 8 billion individuals requiring control, food distribution, infrastructure management. Have you calculated the logistics? Because I have." She tapped her tablet. "I brought spreadsheets." I leaned toward my colleague, Renik. "What are spreadsheets?" "I believe they are economic weapons," Renik whispered. Torvik slammed his tail against the floor. "You will submit, or we will destroy your major cities." Victoria tilted her head slightly. "Will you?" "Because eliminating population centers destroys workforce value, infrastructure assets, and long-term extraction viability. It also guarantees a sustained insurgency campaign." She turned the tablet toward him. I modeled the projections. Occupying Earth would cost you more than abandoning this sector entirely. From my monitoring station, I zoomed in on her display. It was a complete cost-benefit analysis of invading Earth. Projected casualties, resource drain, long-term resistance metrics, economic collapse scenarios. One section was titled, "Why This is a Terrible Idea. A Comprehensive Review." "This is absurd," Torvik roared. "We have destroyed civilizations." "Yes," said Priya Sani, who had been quietly eating an apple. "And how did that perform economically?" She swiped her tablet. "Your Dominion is currently experiencing a 17% decline in gross territorial output. Military expenditures have increased 42%. Approval ratings across occupied systems are, objectively, catastrophic." The 4th diplomat, An older man named Harold Finch nodded. We accessed your financial reports last week. Apologies. We needed accurate data. The room froze. You accessed our reports? Torvik struggled to finish the sentence. Your encryption was respectable, Harold replied mildly. It took us nearly 3 days. That was the moment I understood. These humans had not arrived to surrender. They had arrived prepared. They had studied us, modeled us, calculated us. They were not reacting. They were controlling the conversation. And somehow, without firing a single shot, they had already won. Victoria Kane set her coffee down on the conference table. The sound cracked through the war room like a gunshot. So here is our proposal, she said, pulling up another document. You leave Earth alone. We establish a trade agreement. Everyone benefits. Simple, clean, profitable. Commander Torvik's skin shifted through 3 different shades of purple. You think you can dictate terms to us? Yes, Victoria replied flatly. Because you need this deal more than we do. Priya leaned forward, her apple core resting on a napkin. Your empire is overextended, Commander. You control 47 systems. You can barely manage 20. Rebellions are active on 6 worlds. Your supply lines are strained. Your fleets are exhausted. She paused. Meanwhile, Earth is unified, advancing faster than you predicted. And we have something you desperately need. And what is that? I asked before I could stop myself. All 4 diplomats turned toward me. Marcus grinned. Creativity, innovation, the ability to solve problems without shooting at them. Harold tapped his tablet. Your weapons haven't meaningfully improved in 2 centuries. Your ships use engine designs older than your great-grandparents. Your tactics are predictable, outdated. He tilted his head slightly. And frankly, boring. We have not stagnated. Torvik roared, slamming his fist onto the table. Victoria raised an eyebrow. When was the last time you invented something new? When did your scientists publish revolutionary research? When did your engineers change the rules of the game? Silence. Because she was right. Terrifyingly right. Her voice softened. Earth understands conquest. We've done it. For thousands of years. Empires rise. Empires fall. Domination always collapses under its own weight. Marcus leaned back. But trade? Trade lasts. Mutual benefit lasts. We give you our music, art, food, entertainment, innovation. You give us faster-than-light travel, advanced materials, interstellar knowledge. He smiled. Everyone wins. Priya nodded. Humans adapt. We integrate. We learn languages. We collaborate with anyone. We are flexible, resilient, useful. Torvik looked around the room. His officers weren't angry. They were thinking. This is a trick, he muttered weakly. Some human deception. Harold stood slowly. It's not deception. It's math. He let that hang in the air. You cannot afford to conquer us. The cost, the time, the resistance. It would bankrupt your dominion within a decade. He folded his hands behind his back. But partnership? That costs you nothing except pride. Victoria stood and extended her hand. So what do you choose, Commander? The smart way or the expensive way? I watched his worldview collapse in real time. He expected fear. He got confidence. Expected submission. Got negotiation. Expected weakness. Got strength. I need to consult the High Council, he said finally. Of course, Victoria replied smoothly. We'll wait. We brought more coffee. 3 hours later, the High Council agreed to preliminary trade talks. 5 weeks later, the first human embassy opened on our capital world. 2 months after that, human engineers redesigned our fleet engines. Efficiency increased by 30%. Today, 6 Earth months later, I sit in a station cafe, drinking something called a cappuccino, watching humans and Vekron citizens walk side by side. And I realized something absurd. We feared their weapons. We feared their military. We feared their technology. We should have feared their diplomats. Victoria Kane didn't conquer the Vekron Dominion. She made war obsolete. And that is the most powerful weapon in the universe. Making your enemy realize that fighting you is the stupidest decision they could possibly make. Humans didn't win with force. They won with math, snacks, and basic economics. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And brilliant. If this story entertained or taught you something, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and bring you more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.